What's going on, guys? And in today's video, I'm going to take you through the exact content and personal branding strategy that has generated my clients multiple 5 to 6 figures, millions of views, and has allowed them to become market leaders in their respective niches. This is the exact same content strategy that I've implemented with Suway Go that has generated him $151,000 a month and turned his page from a theme page into a personal brand followed by the biggest guys in the space. He's a washer who collected $15K rev in the first 2 days of implementing the content strategy and finished July on $50,000. Myself, who scaled to $45,000 in the first 2 months of launching my offer and only posted 9 videos at the time. And today I'm going to show you guys how you can do just that by covering how you guys can build a brand that doesn't feel tedious to create content for, where you can be authentically yourself whilst attracting people that you can genuinely sell. And most importantly, build a personal brand that will actually last you a lifetime and that will become a long-term asset. I've broken this video down into 4 actionable segments: how to build a brand around yourself, how to make content around your brand to attract, nurture, and sell your audience, how to implement a content strategy and funnel, and using data to get the best results you can. So the first thing I'm going to do with you guys is completely reframe your mindset around building a brand. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to tell you guys to stop focusing on the content. This is the biggest mistake that most business owners make because they all seek return on investment from the content that they're posting. So all they do is make valuable content that they think will attract and sell their ICP. But in reality, what this looks like is just everybody copying each other and regurgitating the same knowledge. So imagine if you have the exact same offer, exact same audience, and exact same personal brand as everybody else, and creating the exact same content as everybody else. What does that say about your offer, and what does that say about the thing that you're selling? The only reason why someone will buy into you is because of the price. If you build your brand like this, you're building a commodity brand, not a personal brand. So instead, what I tell people to do is to focus on the brand, not the content, because content compounds is what builds the brand. People buy into the brand, not the content. So these are the 4 pillars that you need to build a powerful personal brand in the industry that you're in. You need to focus on why people will love you internally, which is your personality, beliefs, values, and stories. Your visual design, how you dress, the editing, the camera angle, the camera quality, the brand outliers, what will make you different, what will make you stand out from the rest, and then your vehicle. That is how you build a brand. And when you focus on building a brand like this, it will allow you to build a long-term asset that will last you a lifetime. The biggest mistake most business owners make is that they focus on creating content and building a brand around the vehicle that they're running, right? But imagine if you put in so much work to scale to 100K followers based on the vehicle that you're running, and then you want to transition in the future, you have to start all over again because the audience that you built followed you for the vehicle. But if you build a brand around yourself and everything here, regardless of what you sell, your audience are bought into you, not the business that you're running. For example, we have Daniel Dalen. He has content on his visual design. He has content around himself, right? And then he has content around his outliers. He loves running. He speaks Chinese. He's white but lives in China. And then he runs an ecom business. But he doesn't make content around his ecom business. He makes content around himself, his lifestyle, his values, his beliefs, his vulnerabilities, everything around that. And you know what he's been able to do? He's been able to scale to $300,000 off a 3-day mastermind on personal branding, where he's made no content on personal branding at all. He's shared no value on creating a personal brand, but people have still bought into him because they simply just want to meet him because of the brand that he's built. And that's the power of personal branding. If you look at the biggest entrepreneurs in the space, Iman Gadzhi, we all know his story. We all know his values. We all know his beliefs. We all know how he dresses. We all know the old money aesthetic. We all know something special about him, and we all know the vehicle that he's running. But he's not just made a personal brand around his vehicle. Even Alex Hormozi, right? We all know his story. We all know how he dresses. We all know something special about him. And then we all know his vehicle. So the biggest guys in the space have all built their personal brands around this way. Now, I bet you're wondering, how do you actually make content for your brand? Well, first, I need you guys to understand that you don't create content to attract your ICP. You create content to attract the dream follower. The dream follower is someone beyond your ICP. It's beyond the occupational qualifications, the financial qualifications, the demographic. It's beyond that. It's someone who will resonate with you on a deeper, more personal level. So you have to treat these guys kind of like your fans, because your fans will buy anything from you. But why should you focus on making content for your dream follower instead of your ICP? It's because of the total addressable market. And what I mean by total addressable market is how many people do you have access to when you make this type of content? If you make content only for the ICP that you're selling to, your total addressable market is significantly smaller than your dream follower. Whereas if you make content for your dream follower, your content will be pushed out more, and within the dream follower, you're going to find your ICP. The good thing about this is you're going to find an ICP that you genuinely resonate with, you'll enjoy working with, and in turn, everything about your business is going to improve. Your fulfillment is going to be better because you enjoy your business. Your sales are going to be better. Your appointment setting is going to be better because all these guys resonate with you as a person, and it becomes less transactional. If you look at here, Alec, one of his closers said, keep up the fire content. People really resonate with the authenticity and content. So it plays a huge part in their success, and it plays a huge part in the closing, how easy the closes are for his company. That's why he's been able to scale to 80K in June and 107K in July. So this is how you identify your ICP. You need to understand who they are. What's their story? What do they look like? What are they passionate about? Their goals, dreams, desires, deepest fears, and struggles. Describe them in full detail because it's going to be super important in creating content ideas. The highest leverage thing that you can do is describing them in full detail because it's going to help you with the content creation, your positioning, and how you angle your brand. If you have existing clients as well for your coaching business or business that you're running, ask them these questions and putting in your onboarding form. What about the content pushing you into buying? What other than the value I provide made you want to work with me? Why do you enjoy working with me? What parts of my brand do you resonate with the most? The reason why is because it will give you so many ideas on how to position yourself. We asked this in Suwei's onboarding form. So we know that people bought into Suwei, not because of the amount of money he's making or the value that he's providing. People bought into Suwei because of he's Asian, he goes to uni, he's making a shit ton of money, he's living a authentic, genuine lifestyle where he's not flashing cars and everything like that. He's into the gym, he's into basketball, he plays tennis. We've made content on all of that and we built our personal brand with that angle where we make a shit ton of money with our offer, but we're also living the dream lifestyle where we can spend time with our family, we can go to uni, we can play sports and everything. We're not spending 15-hour workdays on the business, right? We've built a business where we can sustain 150K months whilst living a good lifestyle, whilst having all the time in the world to do whatever we want. And that's how we built the brand. So once you've identified your dream followers, what you can do is through the brand that you've built here, you can now pull from your brand to speak directly to the dream followers. And that's how you create ideas for social media. Pull from your brand, your stories, your values, your beliefs that speak directly to the dream follower, right? That's why it's so important to go into detail when you're answering these questions. After these ideas, you need to follow these 3 pillars of content. Your content needs to be authentic, your content needs to be optimized for growth, and your content needs to build a level of authority around you. Authenticity is what's gonna nurture these guys. It's what's gonna get them to like you as a person, trust you, and position you as one of one compared to all the competitors in your niche. Growth is going to allow you to actually attract an audience because there's no point creating value-based content or sharing your story if there's not an audience to begin with. You need all 3 of these in your content and in your personal brand to build a leveraged personal brand. These 3 pillars all work in unison, and you need authority to make you someone worthy of listening to. Why would someone listen to you? Why would someone listen to the value that you're providing if they don't admire you? Why would someone listen to your story if they don't see you as someone worthy of listening to? If you become someone worthy of listening to, you become someone worthy of buying into. So how do you do this? It comes from having a deep understanding of your dream followers' goals, dreams, and desires. If you have your dream followers' goals, dreams, and desires, you can make your content around that. Same way we did for Suwei, how we positioned ourselves as making a shit ton of money at a young age and only working 4 hours a day. That's the ultimate lever that we can pull to make content and position ourselves as an authority. So that is what you should be doing. So how do you actually execute these ideas? When you have an idea, right, you want to package it into a format. A format is basically the way a piece of content is executed. With Suwei and other clients, we've tested multiple different formats. If I open the sheet up really quickly, we've tested day in the lives, POVs, live sales calls, podcast, talking head, green screen, and raw iPhone videos, and lifestyle videos. We've tested all these videos and we found which one works, and we double down on the one that performs the best. The beauty of it is one idea can be formatted into 7 different formats. So you can test 7 different formats from one idea. You kind of have to view content ideas as assets, right? So you get 1 input, 7x the output. Now how you find these formats is you just scroll on Instagram and you find patterns in content that you can replicate. And if you see that you can execute this idea in this format, then go ahead and do it. And then if you find another format, recreate the idea and go ahead and do it as well. Because again, that's gonna allow you to get the best results for yourself and genuinely scale through content.
Right? I'm going to cover a lot more in data towards the end of this presentation.
So now that we understand the brand that we're building, the people that we're speaking to, how do we actually create a strategy and create a content funnel that will nurture people, attract people,
and get them to buy into us?
It's actually quite easy to understand. A content strategy to get people to attract people, to nurture people, to get them to trust us, to make them problem aware, to get them to buy into us is as simple as looking at the current information that we have in front of us and reverse engineering. So let's say our problem is low lead flow and lack of views.
The situation that we're in is we're not posting enough videos and we don't know how to generate views. So what should we focus on in order to solve this situation? Focus on top of funnel content, and content that's optimized for growth. So once we fix that issue, our next problem is the combos are dry, the sales resistance, no one is booking the calls, no one trusts us, and it's super hard to transition in DMs. What's the situation? Okay, we have a decent appointment setter. Combos are difficult. We're reaching out to everybody, but they're so cold that they just don't want to have a conversation with us. So what's the strategy? We build authenticity. We create authentic content to build a genuine connection so they open up in the DM. This happened for the longest time with Sue. So when we were making content just to sell to our audience, we actually hit our lowest month, which was $20,000. The moment we understood how to connect to our audience on a deeper level, we had 10K views, we had 48K views. What this video did, it was about his family, no value at all, right? It allowed us to have genuine conversation in the DMs, got these people to like us and trust us and resonate with us to the point where we can just have an easy conversation with them and book them into a call. So after we solve that problem, we have a lot of calls in, but they're not converting. Why? Because they have too many limiting beliefs. They have objections in the sales calls. So what do? We focus on making content that breaks their limiting beliefs and handles the objections. So that is how you create a content strategy. It's as simple as reverse engineering. But how can you actually create a content funnel that will lead to someone going from cold to super warm to buying from you? First, I want to let you guys know that a content funnel isn't as straightforward as you think. A buyer's journey from organic content isn't straightforward, right? Instead of calling it a content funnel, call it a content cycle. I've done extensive research on this, and it's what allowed me to scale to 21K in my first month of launch my offer. I'm going to explain it, but I did a small study on a test group and everybody bought from me, right? And I'm going to explain it right now. So there's this rule in marketing from Google where someone has to spend 7 hours of watch time with you, 11 different touch points on 4 different platforms before they actually buy into you. Through those touch points, that's why there's a cycle, because the content cycle looks like this: Instagram Shorts, YouTube long form, Threads, VSL, IG Stories, TikTok, Tweets, YouTube Shorts. There's multiple different touch points, and the more touch points you have and the more time that they spend with you and go through your ecosystem, the more trust is built, the more time spent, more time that they grow to like you and everything, because they're spending so much time with you and compared to your competitors, right? That is the content cycle. That is the organic buyer's journey, because you can't just sell someone straight away like that. I've executed this with a small test group. I hopped on a few group calls with a few friends of mine, spend time sharing my story, sharing value, vibing, sharing jokes, getting them to know me, like me, and trust me as a person and believe in my process, right? I didn't post any content prior to launching my new offer, but when I launched it, they all bought. So imagine if I did this with my content, I would have made a shit ton more money. That is how you implement a content funnel and a content strategy. So attract people, get them to like you, trust you, love you, and believe in your process. So now that we're making content, now that we understand the funnel that we need to build, now that we understand the brand that we need to build and the content that we need to make, how do we actually get the best results out of the content that we need to make and build the best brand that we possibly can? First, I want you guys to test as many formats as possible. The reason why is because if you're only testing one format, you're only getting one data point, so you're putting in so much work to get so little output. The more formats that you test, the more that you can see which ones you can double down on, and the more that you can rip content. Content is a testing and distribution game. The moment you see something working, double down and keep pushing that until you find the next format that wins. And how you find a successful format or successful content idea is paying attention to these analytics. So in order to see which formats are the best, it's not just the views, it's these analytics. The genuine comments that you're getting per video. Let's say you post a video. If it's so controversial, so entertaining, so valuable that someone has watched it, formed a strong emotion, and taken the time of their day to comment a paragraph or a genuine sentence on your video, it means that your video is really fucking good. The reason why is because like comments that are just emojis, it's just purely comments for support. No one actually cares about the content that you post. And this is how you ensure that the video that you're posting leaves a lasting impression. That is the ultimate way to tell that if your content is good. The amount of saves, which is pretty self-explanatory. If someone is saving your video, it means that it's really good, that they always need to go back to it. The followers per 1,000 views. This is the best way to determine what type of content is optimized to attract new followers. And we track this manually. There's no automation. I wish there was, but we track this manually. So we understand which content brings us the most followers, and whenever we need more followers, we format this idea or post the exact same idea in the exact same format because we know that it works. The number of sends, if someone's sending your video around, it means that someone else can relate to it. It's super valuable, it's super controversial, and it just ultimately indicates that your video is actually good. But how do we ensure this? I look at content through a psychological perspective, and I directly use Pavlov's conditioning. And this is how you can train your audience to never skip your videos. And I'm just going to explain Pavlov's conditioning. Let's say we have a bell, right here, right? Every time, and a dog. Every time you ring that bell, food is brought to the dog. And over time, when we ring that bell, that dog is going to be conditioned to expect something good from the bell. So every time the dog sees the bell, the mouth starts salivating, it goes closer to the bell, it touches the bell, everything. It just becomes addicted to the bell because it gets rewarded every time the bell rings. Let's say there's negative reinforcement now. Whenever the bell rings, the dog gets electrocuted. And over time, if the dog continues to get electrocuted, then it's going to avoid the bell. The same thing applies to your content. If someone watches your content and it doesn't reward them, it doesn't make them feel a type of way, it doesn't leave a genuine lasting impression, they're going to feel disrespected. They're going to be like, damn, I just wasted 60 seconds of my time, 30 seconds of my time. Like, what the fuck is this? And then over time, if you do that for every piece of content, they're going to swipe off. But in turn, if you reward your viewer, if you give them a lasting feeling, imagine if they spend $5 on your video, $5 on 1 minute of your video, and they feel a lasting impression, they get an epiphany moment, they get extremely pissed off, then it means that your video is actually good, right? And how you can tell this is if you genuinely watch your video and it's not regurgitated knowledge, or you find yourself like smiling at that post, or you're scared to post it, or you genuinely know that this video can help someone out and it's completely new to the space, go ahead and post it. That's how you can tell a video is really good. I've done it for all my videos and even Sue's videos as well. That's why we're averaging 30,000 views per video right now. 20 to 30,000. Even my current videos, I posted this one recently, but even these videos, I don't get them as many views, but I get so much engagement in my videos. As you can see, so much genuine engagement. Although this isn't loading, so much genuine engagement because I understand how to use psychology to make a really good video. But yeah, guys, this is the exact content and personal branding strategy that I've implemented with multiple of my clients, scaled into 5 to 6 figures a month, generate them millions of views, and help them build a long-term asset that will last them a lifetime. I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to follow me. My Instagram is in the description below, and subscribe. Take care. Hope you have a good one. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.